afternoon, good evening, good night, good morning, wherever you are in the world. How you all doing? I'm Sal Warner. This is Stretford Post. This is Chatterbox, guys. How you're doing in another same location as this morning, actually, but it is another location, to be honest with you guys. But welcome to the stream, guys. Welcome, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're having a little bit of a break in regards to Manchester United, because nothing's been going on, has it? You know, we've got the FA Cup. We're not too interested in the FA Cup, to be honest with you, because the FA Cup's a Mickey Mouse competition, isn't it? Now, I'm only joking. It's not quite as it used to be. It's not the same when Man United are not in it, to be honest with you. When Man United are not in the FA Cup, there is a problem, of course, guys. You know, it's boring, to be honest. It's boring. No Man United, no FA Cup. Just like the Champions League, to be honest with you. I'm not being arrogant. I'm humble. I'm not being biased or anything like that. But guys, welcome. Please don't forget to smash the like on the video, subscribe to the channel, all that jazz. If you guys can do that for me, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Guys, absolutely. Now, let's get into a bit of news, guys, surrounding Manchester United. Of course, guys, Manchester United have been linked to a number of players. I say it every single time, and I get my head bitten off and stuff like that. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I can only bring you the news, and I can bring you what I heard, and I only can bring you what I believe and what I've heard Man United are interested in. The players that Man United are interested in, the players that Man United are chasing at the moment. Doesn't mean we're going to get all of them. Of course, it doesn't mean that. Of course, it's going to mean that we'll get one or two probably, and that's about it. We'll get 2 out of 100, probably something like that. But look, let's go on about Yan Diomande. Of course, a lot of people turn their back on Yan Diomande because he said those words, those sentences about Liverpool. He was talking about Liverpool and, you know, saying that he would prefer a move to Liverpool. But I don't really take that as an absolute. I don't really care, to be honest with you, because I remember when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was playing for Man United, he was a Liverpool fan. Let's not forget that. Jamie Carrick is an Everton fan. He became a Liverpool legend. It's just the way it is sometimes, guys. And look, I wouldn't say no to Yan Diomande. However, when I'm looking at Yan Diomande transfer, I am looking at it in a way that, well, is it a player that we need? Do we need a Yan Diomande? Is that the kind of player that Manchester United want? Do Man United need another attacking outlet? Or should we just throw our eggs into the central midfield basket and do that? Should we do that? And I think that is what we should do. I think Man United should focus primarily on that midfield, and then once we get things going, we can add the attacking players here and there. Now, look, guys, I'm not deluded. I'm not naive. I do know about Ineos. I do know about the Glazers. I do know what's going on. However, I'm just going to bring you the news and way I see it. Now, according to various reports, Manchester United have held a meeting with Yan Diomande's entourage of a possible summer transfer. The winger has 7 goals and 4 assists in 20 Bundesliga appearances this season. The club may sell the player for a price close to 100 million euros, guys. 19 years old Ivorian, guys. And in regards to this meeting, apparently the boost is the meeting went well. The meeting went successfully. It was good. And that's a good thing at the end of the day. But will Man United make the move? That is up in the air. Will Man United spend 800 million euros on another attacking player? I don't know. I would much prefer us to go after Anderson and Wharton and Baleba and Stiller and these kind of players before we go after Yan Diomande, in my opinion, guys. I mean, I wouldn't mind Yan Diomande if we got all the teams sorted out and then we got Yan Diomande. That wouldn't be bad. But, you know as well as I do, that is going to be very difficult to do if we, because that would mean that we've signed 6 or 7, 8 players. I mean, that would be a miracle, of course, with Ineos and the Glazers, of course. So I would take it with a big pinch of salt if we are going to do a deal like that. However, Yan Diomande is linked to the likes of Liverpool. He is linked to the likes of other clubs as well. So I think that Man United do need to move in and get him if they can. Of course, because we don't want anyone to improve. We don't want Liverpool to improve. We don't want Liverpool fans happy. Of course we don't. It's not about that at the end of the day. And guys, look, you know what? It's been a very disappointing season so far. We have to be real. I mean, look, it might end well. We might qualify for the Champions League. And I think most of us took that at the beginning of the season. However, it has been a negative season. And I just want to bring some positive light into the proceedings, guys, because you know what? It's too much negativity going on. I just think that there's too much going on at the moment. It's just like every time Man United get to a level, and this is why I've always been relatively level with how I feel, and I don't jump, because I've always felt that there's always something bad around the corner in regards to Man United. There's always something going to go wrong. You know what I mean? It's always like you can feel it in the air, like Phil Collins, you can feel it in the air tonight. You know what I mean? It's just like, even though we're doing well and we've got positivity, we haven't lost in 5 games, and we think, okay, yeah, that's great. But then you've got to think about, Man United. We're used to adversity. We're used to things going wrong, and it has, lo and behold, it's happened because of our owners again, or co-owners, whatever you want to say. It's happened again because of them, and it does drive me absolutely mad, of course. But look, one thing is that, look, we have to separate the norm from the bullshit, to be honest with you. And in regards to Ineos and the Glazers, of course, I do understand that there's going to be lots of links to players. There's going to be lots of spin. Of course it is. But I'm only bringing in players that I truly believe Man United are linked with. I do believe Man United will spend on average about 200 million. If it's 200 million, around that mark, around 200 million it will be. Man United are going to sell a couple of players. Players are going to be leaving and stuff. So obviously that's going to free up some space in the squad. And if Man United, which is obviously a likelihood, Man United qualify for the Champions League, we're going to need players. And we're going to need, of course, cover. Now, this morning I didn't bring him into the show. I just wanted to clarify a few things with the people I know, of course, guys. But the guy's name is Anicio Cabral. Anicio Cabral is a 18-year-old centre forward currently playing for Portugal under 18s. Now, he's got 3 appearances this season for Benfica. He's got 2 goals, only 18 years old. Now, scouts have been watching Anicio Cabral, and word is everything is all positive in regards to Anicio Cabral. Manchester United have made initial contact in regards to his entourage about a possible transfer in the summer for the 18-year-old. Now, guys, he's seen as one of the next up-and-coming strikers in Portugal. But again, guys, another project player, of course, guys. But Anicio Cabral, Manchester United could be a thing. You never know, guys, but 18 years old. But the problem is with this, I'm hearing that we've already made initial approaches. We've got too many project players, guys. I'll be honest with you. We've got too many project players, but it's just the way it is, guys. We have to just have to suck it in and just have to deal with it and say, okay, Anicio Cabral, 18 years old, going to be a good player in 10 years. All right, blah, blah, blah. And that's what we have to do, to be honest with you, guys. But we're being linked to a lot of young players, which is obvious that we're doing. Obviously, Jason Wilcox is looking, guys. Now, look, I want to bring in a little bit of news about people who are talking about Michael Carrick and Michael Carrick's future at Manchester United. Now, I just want to bring this in to you guys. That's it. I want to bring this into you, but just give me a second. So we've got a lot of people already, right? Doubting Michael Carrick. Michael Carrick is this, Michael Carrick is that. Now, one of them is John Obi Mikel. We all remember John Obi Mikel, the Norwegian Nigerian or Norwegian international guys who played in Norway. I think he's a Nigerian international. And he has said, as things stand, I'm very sure this Manchester United side under Carrick will not finish in the top 4 or even the top 5 this season. I see Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Villa, and any other team finishing in the top 5 except United. So, guys, look, listen, right? John Obi Mikel is basically doubting Manchester United. He's doubting Michael Carrick. Basically, that's what it is at the end of the day. So, okay, that's fine. You can doubt Michael Carrick. Go ahead. Do what you want. Do as you please. Because at the end of the day, I'm not interested in what John Obi Mikel does or says. He already made one big bad decision in his career, which is signing for Man United and changing his mind and then up signing for Chelsea. I bet he regrets that at the end of the day. So his advice really doesn't move me, to be honest with you. I'm not too bothered about John Obi Mikel. But this is the type of vibes that we are going to be getting at Manchester United in regards to people who want to downplay Michael Carrick. People who want to say bad things about Michael Carrick and don't believe in Michael Carrick. The one thing I would say, and I think it's very important that we bring it into the show, is that what's the difference, right, between bringing in Michael Carrick and what Pep Guardiola and what De Zerbi and what all these managers did, the big managers I'm talking about did, like, Luis Enrique, what they did to get to where they are. So when you look at the likes of Luis Enrique, they didn't exactly set the world alight at Lazio. You look at the likes of Pep Guardiola, he was given a job with a team that Frank Rijkaard built, by the way. He didn't build it. Guys, I will argue that with anyone. It was the Frank Rijkaard who actually built that team for, at the beginning. So at the end of the day, look, they can have their opinions. And you know what? Everyone has an opinion. That's life. And especially in regards to Man United, everyone is going to have an opinion about Manchester United. And I don't really care what Joe Lobby Mikel, but it's very, very obvious that there's some bitter ill feelings about this move. Now, if Michael Carrick gets Manchester United to the Champions League and we get in there and you know what, and we do well for the rest of the 12 games or so that we got left, then you're going to have to say, you know what, Michael Carrick might deserve the job. The only manager I would say, if we get into that position, that I would take ahead of Carrick is Luis Enrique. But that is obviously going to be very difficult to do. And obviously with Ineos and Glazers and their influence in regards to the manager, will he want to take the job, most importantly, of course. Let me just say hello to the community. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome, guys. Hope everyone is blessed, of course. Big up, Bobby. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you, my guy. Big up. Good evening, Ephraim. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you. How's your trip going? It's going well. It's going well. I will be back tomorrow, of course, guys. Back in my usual surroundings and stuff like that. Big up, my friend Sam. How you doing, my friend? Happy Sunday to you as well, my guy. Big up yourself. Sal, is there any news about De Ligt injury? Nothing at the moment. Really weird about Ephraim, about Matthias De Ligt in regards to his back injury. It is a back injury, and I did hear about this from a Bayern fan before we signed Mazraoui and De Ligt. He was actually a Bayern fan. Don't know where he disappeared from my stream before. He was a Bayern fan. He used to come on every day. But he was telling me that, De Ligt's got an injury record. And, the first season went well between De Ligt and stuff, right? And obviously Mazraoui as well. But obviously this news about De Ligt is a little bit concerning because we're not hearing nothing in regards to that. We're hearing news about other players, but we're not hearing about De Ligt. And I think that is a little bit of a concern. You have to admit it, and I do hope that De Ligt gets better because we need De Ligt. Honest to God. De Ligt has been a big miss this season so far. He's been a huge miss so far this season, in my opinion. And I think if we had De Ligt, we'll be further up the table. I really do think that. Absolutely. Big up, Ephraim. Robert, good morning. How you doing? Good evening. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Big up, Sal. Let's wait and see the end of the season as Carrick goes. I agree with Robert here. I agree. The thing is that it's exactly what it is. You can't overjump the mark and you can't underestimate the mark as well. You've got to keep it on a level pegging. If we get in the Champions League, we can reevaluate, we can evaluate it, and we can decide what we want to do. We can decide what we want to do. And if it's going well, we would know if it's going well. We would know if we've been lucky. We would know if we're playing good football, at the end of the day. But it's going to be very, very difficult for Ineos to not give him the job. That's one thing I would say if he gets in the Champions League. Obviously, Luis Enrique is going to be a lot of money, and obviously they're not going to want to pay the money. You know what Ineos are and the Glazers are, of course, Good morning, Sal. John Obi Mikel's opinions don't even register with me when he talks about Chelsea, never mind Manchester United whatsoever. I think there's a couple of quotes on John Obi Mikel over the last year or so that I've agreed with. He did say things about Ruben Amorim and things like that, and he did speak about Ineos and the Glazers before, and he did come out with a little bit of common sense. But not everything he says is right at the end of the day. Everyone deserves a chance, in life. Just because his name's Michael Carrick and he used to play for Man United and we are familiar with Michael Carrick. That's what it is. You know what it is? You know what it is, guys? It's familiarity. It's familiarity. Is that people look at him and think, he's an ex, Man United player and that's why he's got the job and that. Michael Carrick's a very intelligent guy. He's used to be a very intelligent player. He weren't quick, he weren't powerful, but he had a brain and he used to make things happen. You know what I mean? And I think you can't underestimate. You can't say, oh, we're Man United are going to finish below Aston Villa and Liverpool and Chelsea. Why? Why is that? So far, evidence suggests we're not. Evidence suggested that if we started the season in January, guys, evidence suggests that Man United would most likely be top of the league right now if Michael Carrick was in charge. At the end of the day. I wish it did start the season, but at the end of the day, it's just the way it is. But look, guys, you can't overestimate and you can't underestimate, and that's what I'm saying. He is bitter. Maybe he wanted to go to Man United. At the end of the day, it was his fault. It was his choice. Sal, do you give Maguire a new contract extension? Can I be honest with you, Ephraim? I'll be totally honest with you, and I'm going to give you my opinion. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. I'm going to say this, guys. I would not give Harry Maguire a new contract. I would look for another defender. I know, guys, that, maybe we want to save a little bit of money and we don't want to go out there and buy another defender, blah, blah, blah. I understand that. If he's a backup defender and he gets less money that he's getting at the moment, then so be it. But I think Man United need to move on from that. We have got obviously Heaven, De Ligt and Yoro and and these players, of course, Fredrickson, Kalungi coming through the ranks as well. Mazraoui as well is there as well. So obviously, I would say that Maguire staying, if he's happy to be a bit part player, if he's a main man that team. I think there's Harry Maguire is good for some games, like when you need him in certain games, and when teams are not that quick and you need him for a bit of physicality. Maybe that's what you need Harry Maguire for, but not for teams that play on the counter and play quick football. He's a little bit slow for that. I think Man United do need to start moving on from the nostalgia, because I know he's got experience. I know, but we got to understand what type of experience he has. Is it good experience or is it bad experience? Is it good experiences in winning or is it bad experience in losing? He's been losing a lot, innit? And I would say the same with Luke Shaw. I would say the same with Mason Mount. I would say the same with all these players. I would say, look, they need to be moved on, and we need to move on swiftly. Mason Mount is one of them. Again, if I bring in Mason Mount to the channel, that, another injury, and he's missed 90% of the season. It's just ridiculous, to be honest, and we do need to start moving him on. We really do. Marcus, we beat up on our legends when they beat up on United players. Obi Mikel, while I like him, I believe these media guys got agenda against United. Can I say something, Mark, these media guys and things like that? I do know, right, quite from someone very high up, because I've been on Sky Sports. I have, guys, a long time ago. I've been on Sky Sports for musical reasons and stuff like that. It's on YouTube and stuff like that. One thing I would say about Sky Sports, I've been on the BBC, I've been loads of times on the BBC, and the one thing I would say about them is that there is a hidden anger, a bitterness towards Man United. There is. A majority of them are Arsenal supporters, Liverpool supporters, and Chelsea supporters. There are not many Man United supporters on the BBC and Sky Sports, as subject to unpopular belief, in my opinion. There is not many Man United fans. So the fact is, even though when you look at VAR, officially, guys, VAR, Man United have had more goals go against them in regards to VAR, decisions go against them than any other club in the Premier League, right? But no one will mention that because they keep talking about Arsenal, how scary and how sad it is for Arsenal, how agenda is against Arsenal. But Man United actually have the worst VAR decision rate in the league. So the VAR for goals conceded and stuff always goes against us, basically. And that's what it is, guys. But Man United, there is a bitterness, there is an anger. It comes from a place of fear as well. We've got to remember that. It does come from a place of fear. Bodie, what's going on, my friend? I hope you're doing well. I think Mount is gone, end of the season. Way too many injuries, way too many. Look, Bodie, I gave him a chance, you know what I mean? I don't know for the life of me why we signed Mason Mount for 50 million, knowing that he had a pelvis injury. And obviously we know the knock-on effects from pelvic injuries and stuff like that is bad. So I don't know why we spent that money on him. But we did get our money back for Garnacho. That's a good thing. Sam, Mike, opinions are rubbish. McKen, opinions are rubbish. He believes Chelsea will qualify for the Champions League, but United will not. Chelsea will lose to Arsenal, Aston Villa, Liverpool, and Man City. United will finish third this season. Sam, I agree with you, mate. I agree with you. I think Man United might even finish second. You never know. We should have won that game, the other night. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, but yeah. I agree with you. I don't think Chelsea are going to get in the top four. I can't see it for the life of me. I can't see it. I think the top four would be Man United, Man City. Man City. The champions will be, for me, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, the champions are going to be Man City. I've changed, guys. The champions are going to be Man City. Second is going to be Arsenal. Third is going to be Man United. Fourth, it's going to be Liverpool. And fifth will be Villa. I think Chelsea might. I mean, looking at that fixtures, I think Chelsea might drop out. I believe that it could be. I do think that Man City are going to catch Arsenal now. I think Man City have got a rich vein of form. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, Ephraim. Sal, it's criminal to give Mount the number 7 shirt. I mean, yeah, it was the worst. It was the worst thing to do. It was the worst thing to do. To give him the number 7 shirt, absolutely. It added extra pressure on him that he didn't need. Of course he didn't. And one thing is signing Mason Mount, who's got a ridiculous injury record. The next thing is, giving him the number 7 shirt. The number 7 shirt, to be fair, has been put through the mud, hasn't it? Remember Memphis Depay and Di Maria, they put it through the mud. And since then we haven't really had a proper number 7, have we? And we really do need to be careful who we give that number 7 shirt to in future, given who's worn that number 7 shirt. It is diabolical, the players that have worn that shirt. I mean, they don't even come close to Manchester United players, to be honest with you. Guys, absolutely not. But guys, in regards to Michael Carrick, yeah, look, there's going to be a lot of links to managers. There's links to De Zerbi. Look, for me, if it was between Michael Carrick and Roberto De Zerbi, I'm choosing Michael Carrick. I'm sorry. I'm choosing Michael Carrick. I'm not going for De Zerbi. People coming on this stream talking about De Zerbi, talking about bringing Greenwood back, talking about all this, all this smack. I mean, not for me. That's the entitled to their opinion, but not for me. At the end of the day, he's done well at Marseille. He's done well. He's broken some records winning wise and stuff like that. I think that represents too much of a risk. As I said, the only managers I will go for is Michael Carrick. And if push comes to shove, Thomas Tuchel. But Thomas Tuchel is going to sign a new contract at England. England, of course. He probably signed a new contract. I agree with Valencia, but even he gave up to the number 7 shirt, other pressure, whatever. Even he wasn't good enough for it, mate. I'll be honest with you. Antonio Valencia was not good enough for the number 7 shirt. He was a decent player. He was never the right player for the number 7 shirt. We liked him. He was a cult hero. But when you think about Cantona and George Best and, David Beckham and these players, and giving a number 7 shirt out willy-nilly like we did, we put it through the mud. Obviously, probably the best performer over the last 13, 15 years has been Tony Valencia. It has been Tony Valencia, probably. It's probably the best one, yeah. So I agree with Arsenal will bottle it. Ephraim, I've got this feeling Arsenal are going to buy. I think that match was big the other night against Brentford. It's opened the door for Man City. They are 4 points clear. And I believe that they will win the league. I got this feeling that they're going to beat them at the Etihad. I've got this weird feeling about it. It's maybe not weird. They don't really win at the Etihad, do they? Arsenal? But I've got this feeling that they're going to win at the Etihad and they're going to run. Look, Man United are not out of the title race. Apparently, if Man United win their next 12 and results go away, it's very unlikely. It's very unlikely. But you know what? You still got to have that little inkling of hope, isn't it? If we ain't got hope, who else has? But I doubt that, Man United are going to win the league. Absolutely. Marcus, the number 7 is special to us. Absolutely. Big up, Danny. Big up, my friend, Danny B. How you doing, brother? I hope you're doing well. The Irish Pit Terrier. How you doing, my friend? Sorry, guys. Look, you know what? They do the handles now on YouTube, and that it does get difficult for me, because I know everyone, a lot of the people on this stream. So it's difficult for me when I see these new handles and I say, "Oh, it's you. I'm glad someone else doesn't think De Zerbi is the right person for Man United. He's not. But Dale, you've got to look at it objectively, and you've got people. The problem is there's cults in the Man United fan, in football in general. There's cults, and these cults they make their mind up about someone. It's like the Baleba cult. Baleba's not playing well. Why would Man United spend 60, 70 million on Carlos Baleba if he's not playing well? What is the logic in that? I don't understand the logic in that. I really don't. And, so I tend to look at things, what's best for Manchester United. What is good for Manchester United, and, sometimes you have to take your emotion away from it. And a lot of people like De Zerbi. De Zerbi is this cult hero. This guy is going to come into Man United and change the fortunes of Man United, bring Mason Greenwood back. I've heard that, guys, and then go on and on and on. Do you know what I mean? And go on to success. It's ridiculous. Big up, Badil. Good to see you, mate. Like the number 1999. It's my favorite number. I wonder why. Kenny, Asna, Jobba Asna Lole. Pick up, my friend. I don't know what you mean, guys. Probably coming from my guy, KG. I don't know. It's early to say whether Carrick is the right man or not. Let's wait and see to the end of the season. It is early to say. And I think it's very important. But when we're bringing up ex-pros and stuff, trying to downplay Michael Carrick, I think it's only right for me to defend Michael Carrick. That is why we're here. It's only right for me to say, what are you talking about, Mikkel, Obi, Mikel, whatever, Chido, Obi, Mikel, whatever you are, mate. At the end of the day, you're a Timo, Chido, Obi. That's what it is at the end of the day. So, what I would say to him, if anyone of a standing and a big platform comes out and starts speaking trash about Michael Carrick, talking that we're going to come lower than Arsenal and Chelsea and Aston Villa and Stoke and Bournemouth and that, he might as well say that, I'm gonna come out and call it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. Sam, Carrick is the man for United. What United board should do, just backing him with a good players. I guarantee you Carrick will succeed and win trophies for us. Sam, I like your enthusiasm, but again, we need to keep it on the level. Now, let's see if he gets into the Champions League. He has to earn his call. right? I've been gaslighted into thinking that this team is good enough for the Champions League. Ineos themselves, Jim Ratcliffe himself, said that this team is good enough for the Champions League. He said it. You know what I mean? Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. If he gets in the Champions League, then there's a conversation to be had. And I do believe that there should be a meeting. I think that we should do it official. I think Man United need to do like a proper analyze every single manager that's available. And look, guys, as I said, if the only one for me, 100% would take the job instead of Carrick is Luis Enrique. But again, Luis Enrique is going to be the guy that they're going to be, will they back him? Will Luis Enrique listen? That's one thing. The sooner we get rid of sentimental figures on our team, the quicker we can move on. Let Maguire, Casemiro, etc. Let them go. Pep, let De Bruyne go. It's time to move on, of course, guys. Pep's going to leave. Pep's going to leave. I've got a lot of respect for Pep over this last few months. And actually, you know what I mean? And what he's been talking and the defense is what he said about Jim Ratcliffe and stuff indirectly. I really do like it and stuff like that. You know what I mean? We got to move on. Look, Marcus, the one thing about Manchester City that we don't do is that they don't hold sentimental things. They don't get too sentimental in regards to play. Look at De Bruyne, one of their favourite ever players, Belletta, players like that, they just got rid of. When it's their time, it's time to go. They get rid of them. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. And that's the good way to be. That's the good way to be. Absolutely. That is the good way to be. You can't have too much sentiments in regards to football, Obi went Chelsea to become Essien backup dancer. Big up, Odie. I agree with that. Absolutely. Now, guys, I'm going to have a special guest into the show today. What I want to know the community. I have a great community here. And one thing about what connects us all, wherever we are from around the world, is our love for Manchester United. And I think this is very important to get to know the community that we have that have been around for a long time. Now, guys, what I want you to get your questions in. I want you to ask, and I want you to ask my guest anything you like, anything you want. Ask him. I'll get the question up, and he will answer it for you guys. So I'm going to bring him into the show right now, guys. Let me bring in Tyborg. What's going on, Tyborg? How you doing, my friend? If it gets, let me just get you on. There we go, Tyborg. How you doing, my friend? It's good to see you at last. Finally, you exist. Yeah. You're not a bot.
So, good afternoon, everyone. It's Tyborg from Germany.
Welcome from Germany. Now, look, you know what I would say? It's good to get a different perspective about Manchester United in regards to Germany and the Premier League. And it's a good timing to bring you on because I want to talk about Germany, the Bundesliga, the Bundesliga model, the 50+1. I mean, it's a godsend. The Premier League needs a 50+1, in particular Man United. Obviously, then we can cancel out all these ownership problems that people have, virtual signaling problems and Jim Ratcliffe problems. So let me just get to know you first in regards to Manchester United. Tell me about your journey as a Man United fan, where you came from, how you became a Man United fan, etc.
I don't even know, to be honest, how exactly and when this happened. I was very young when I fall in love, first of all, with English football in general. It wasn't just United in the beginning. I just like this. Sal, you will know this in the 80s and 90s. British football was, you have to be fit. It was tough. And this is the way I played football back then. So English football was always in the closest thing to me. Serie A also was very popular in the 90s, but it was never my thing.
It was the best league in the 90s, or Serie A was the best league. It was
exactly, but I never liked it because it was too much talking, too much play acting, and less football. Basically, I was some 12 or 13 years old, maybe, when I visited a friend of mine whose dad has a tattoo on his arm. First, I thought it's Jesus, but it was George Best.
Oh, so, yeah. Might as well be.
It's the same. So basically, this was my first contact with a United player, and the old guy explained everything to me. He was completely a fan of George Best and Manchester United in general. So he was talking to me 3 hours, 4 hours about him, and I can say probably this was the moment when I was so hooked. Later, I made some research about United, I knew about the Busby base later on, and it just came, this addiction.
So obviously, fall in love Man United. I always believe that Man United choose you. You don't choose Man United. That's always believed. It just seems to come to you. Man United seems to, and you end up supporting them. Because even if someone asks me, how did you exactly start supporting Man United? I have to think back, like how it just happened. It sort of happened, so to speak. But having, you come from similar generation to me, having watched Man United all these years, and to see where Man United are now with all the toxicity going on, in particular with Jim Ratcliffe and the ownership. You're from Frankfurt. You're living in Frankfurt at the moment. Obviously, there's Eintracht Frankfurt in the Bundesliga. I want you to explain to me how football works in Germany, because I'm looking at Germany. I'm seeing all these great young players coming through. I've mentioned a lot of them on the channel. I'm seeing the fans are always hyped. The fireworks, the flags. It's incredible atmosphere, and the Premier League used to have this great atmosphere. Where is the Bundesliga going right at the moment where the Premier League is lacking, in your opinion?
It's very simple. The Bundesliga is still focused on the fans, on this familiar atmosphere. The ticket prices are not so high. So everything, if you visit a stadium in the Bundesliga, you have a completely different feeling. And I remind you, I visited a couple of times Old Trafford too, and obviously Bundesliga. So I really can compare, even if it's not even comparable right now. I have to be honest. I really don't want to turn this into a Premier League versus Bundesliga thing. But the best football for the last 2 decades probably is played in England. No question about it. The amount of money brought really huge amount of good players, and it's like that for 2 decades. So obviously the football you cannot compare with any other league. But when it comes to support, when it comes to atmosphere in the stadiums, Germany is miles above England and other leagues too, to be honest.
I can see Germany, because obviously Germany, it was still strong in the 90s as well. It was obviously Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund were around as well. Later on, we had Kaiserslautern and Schalke and teams like that. They've always been in and around the Champions League semi-finals and the finals. It's a Bayern Munich team of 90, 98, 99. It was an incredible team. And Man United and Bayern were like this, neck and neck. They were literally, very, very small margins, in regards to both of them, and it's such a shame to see the way English football is going. And I believe it's who the football's owned by. I think the football clubs are being owned by people who are not really interested in the club and not interested in success on the pitch. Whereas in the Bundesliga, it's more like the club, the youth development and the club being successful. That's how I feel. I think the Premier League, so much money has come into the Premier League that the wrong eyes have looked onto the Premier League, and the wrong people want a piece of the Premier League, a piece of the pie. I think that the 50+1 rule in the Bundesliga is brilliant. Tell me a little bit about the 50+1 ownership in Germany.
It's basically, probably everyone knows this. The 50+1 rule is about you cannot have investors in the Bundesliga in such way as you have it in the Premier League. So basically, the 50% must belong to the fans and +1 vote. So basically 49% can be owned by investors. It's allowed, but it's not really the case in Germany. We don't have huge billionaires here because they either want to own the whole club and be the one who decides everything, or they do not invest at all. So this is the situation in Germany. Just to make it clear, the 50+1 rule has its positives and its negatives. The positive side to it, as I said, ticket prices atmosphere in stadiums. You as a member, you can vote about everything about your club. I have emails from Eintracht Frankfurt on weekly basis. Everything is asked. By everything, I mean they won't ask who you want to buy next from the players or something.
So, Tybo,
But
just one thing. So the fans will have a vote on who the club buys if they purchase a player. If they want to purchase a player, for example, and they have to do a vote within the club or within the fan base. They say,
no. When it comes to players, we are not asked. There are people who do this without the fans. But when it comes to other things, like a couple of months ago, they wanted to build a building for a media center or something near the stadium, and there was a vote. So the 200,000 members from Eintracht Frankfurt decided, no, you won't do it here because it's going to ruin the whole area. We have deep in the forest. It also belongs to Eintracht Frankfurt. So you're going to build it there. And this is what happened. You feel by this, you feel more part of it. And this is why you go into stadium and you know that probably the whole stadium is a member. Probably the whole stadium feels like we are a family. And it's a huge difference.
So taking it to these days, Manchester United, how are you feeling about everything that's happened in regards to Ruben Amorim being sacked, of course, and now Michael Carrick? How do you see the future going with Michael Carrick? Would you give Michael Carrick the job if he qualifies for the Champions League, or would you be looking at to bring someone else in, more experienced?
If he qualifies, I would probably give to him. Because not because probably he's not the best one, let me say this.
Yeah.
But simply because I don't think there is someone else better in this moment if we qualify. Ancelotti, as I hear, wouldn't come. Tuchel
He's got
also.
another contract.
So there are a couple of names mentioned, but I really don't think they are huge. De Zerbi, don't even mention. I don't see him as a huge manager or something. I don't even know why.
What about Luis Enrique? You see Luis Enrique coming to Man United with this ownership and these people in his ear every 5 minutes about you should be doing this.
That's the problem. I would like to say something. Wherever you are in the world as a United fan, you feel the pain of these last 20 years, since 2005. I wouldn't call it a downfall. It's probably too harsh because we won something in this time. But it's not as it was before. So wherever you live in the world as a United fan, you are suffering. But if you live in Germany, your suffering is a double, believe me, because you see things, how different things can be. And the dishonesty, the arrogance and ignorance from the owners, it's really bad. I see, when I compare, for example, press conference by Eintracht Frankfurt, and then I look at the press conference at Manchester United, it's such a huge difference. People sitting there in this room at the press conference at Manchester United are mostly the people from the club or people closely connected to the club. So basically you have questions that are not offending anyone. They are not require you to feel some bad things or it's completely different in Germany and not just in Frankfurt. The questions asked in a press conference before and after the game, it doesn't matter, are direct, honest, and there is no two ways about it. You cannot give 2-3 answers to it, but you have to answer it. You mentioned De Ligt a couple of minutes ago. That's a surprise to me too, because when a big player here in Germany is injured, then automatically you will somebody comes and gives an official explanation. Okay, this is what happened. It takes 4 weeks, it takes 6 weeks, so the fans know. So basics, and we have to guess right now what is with the league? You know what I mean? The ignorance,
the lack of
the
communication.
ownership and the club is not on the same
There's
level.
no communication between the fans
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
ownership. That's the problem. Yeah, exactly. And the league shows us that nothing in the last month, 2 months from De Ligt, absolutely nothing. It's like they don't care about us as fans, and that's a shame because it didn't used to be like that. And I've always known Man United to be a family club. When I started supporting the club, I was welcomed at Old Trafford. And I've got a question here for you. CP, he said, Julian Nagelsmann, is he good for us? Do you think Nagelsmann is a good fit for Manchester United? Do you think? Let's obviously he's like a hipster kind of manager. He's a Ten Hag sort of thing kind
He's
of
a
manager.
character, I must say. He's a strong character. When he gives interviews or something, if you see him speaking, he smiles a lot and he's so friendly and everything. But I've seen videos from him, and I see, saw him on the touchline once. He was crazy. So he can be really, really aggressive sometimes. But maybe this is exactly what we would need. Because sometimes I felt in the case of Amorim too, he was honest and everything, but he was a bit lost sometimes. Let me just connect. You asked me about Amorim. I think the club betrayed him completely. So we cannot lie. The football itself wasn't too good. We have done all the negative records and everything. But
I think he's just too stubborn. I think he just needed to make it easier on himself. Because
yes,
the board are not going to back him, and I know the board lied to him, but you can't. If something's not working, I actually think it was starting to work, but the process was too slow. And
that's the point. They got rid of him in exactly in the time when maybe things would get better. I think the club betrayed him. He brought him in, the ownership, and they knew exactly who he is. 3-4-3, 3-4-2-1. And then they probably promised him everything. And what he got a couple of players. And then what happened? I know you have to change your system and everything. So this is when I think Amorim said, okay, that was it.
he weren't going to have it. This is the thing. He weren't going to change the system. I think the thing is that when he changed the system and we beat Newcastle, I think it was, and then he changed it back, and that's the thing. I mean, you just need to make it easier on yourself sometimes. I agree. They lied to him. They betrayed him. But I blame the board for it, because if they're not willing to back a manager like him, they shouldn't have brought a manager like him in. And that's the thing. That's the whole point of it. I blame the board for that, because they should have stuck. Even then, even when we were 3 points from fourth place, I know we should have been more. We drew some games we shouldn't have drawn. Maybe in hindsight, we're looking at it and saying, well, if we beat Wolves, we beat Bournemouth, West Ham, we might be further up the table. But you never know what would have happened. I just say that in the end, this thing showed me that the board, they're not interested in success for Man United, long-term success for Man United. They just want it now, and they want to bring in someone who can do it now and just be quiet, and that's it. And
they proved it. They proved it in lots of times, Sean, already that they are not interested in footballing success. Let me tell you, this regeneration project, what's the name exactly? Stuff like this wouldn't even be discussed here in Germany. The fans would go crazy. You haven't even done it. You're just discussing doing it. It would already be, the heads will be rolling and everything would be burning. So I find it sometimes a bit shocking and surprising that fans in England sometimes are too tolerant, and
They are. I think it depends who you are. I think it depends who you are, because obviously Abramovich, when he was at Chelsea, they removed him quickly. They got rid of him quickly. But I'm glad in one way in regards to these comments. So I'm not going to get into the Jim Ratcliffe whole comments thing about that, because it has nothing to do with Man United, and that was my whole point. You can have your beliefs about something, but keep it to yourself. If you're not a politician, you're not succeeding at Man United. That's what I want to know. You're failing at Man United. And the first thing he did was talk about a stadium. And I felt like stadiums will come later on. You want to build a new stadium, build it at Old Trafford, number one. We don't need to move away from Old Trafford. We can build it at Old Trafford. There's too much history at Old Trafford for us to just move away. You know, and Bernabeu, Real Madrid didn't move away. Barcelona didn't move away. They stayed in exactly the same place. And if you've ever been to the Bernabeu, it's actually in the middle of an apartment place where loads of apartments are around, and there's a main road there.
There is always a solution, Sal.
There's always a solution, exactly. But they didn't want that solution. This is the thing. They felt that if they rebuilt Old Trafford, he couldn't rubber stamp his name all over it because it's Old Trafford. You know,
look,
whereas if he moves
in my honest opinion, I waited some 40 years to visit Old Trafford to see it live. And when I got there the first time, I remember it was, I don't even know how could I compare to anything. Maybe the born of my son. It was such a huge thing for me. I went inside. I was 40 years old already, or even more. And I went inside, and I can admit it online. I cried, Sir. It was such an emotion. You're following a team. You know everything about the team, about the history, about the stadium, and everything. It's part of your life hugely. But I never thought I will be able to visit Old Trafford, and then it happened after such a long time. I was crying 5 minutes, 10 minutes. A German friend of mine was with me. He was shocked. He just asked all the time, "What's happening with you?" I can't explain. Let me. And then I heard the first time that they want the destruction of Old Trafford. I thought, no, I'm going to fall into depression if this happens.
And people actually think that Man United will move to a new stadium and everything is going to be well. Everything's going to be great. I mean, our Arsenal, our Spurs, it's not great. You know, at the end of the day,
the best example.
Because you can't buy history. You can't buy memories and the players that have played on that pitch. The Bobby Charltons, George Best, Duncan Edwards. You know, so Matt Busby was on the touchline at Old Trafford. You know, this is the thing, and it does make me wonder. Some of the Man United fans, a section of the Man United fans, are just so blasé. But in regards to, okay, it's fine. We need to move the stadium anyway. We need to move anyway. We have to move. We don't have to move. Ask Real Madrid. Have anyone been to the Bernabeu? I've been to the Bernabeu a lot of times. If anyone went to the old Bernabeu, I've been there to see Man United. There was graffiti everywhere. It was like just an old concrete industrial sort of stadium, and it is big, but it wasn't modern. And they fixed it. And the same with Barcelona. You know, same thing with Barcelona. And I don't know. I think this is an excuse. They just want the naming rights. They want the concerts. They want the commercial side of things. And that's what I feel about it. There's a question here.
This is the biggest problem. Yeah.
Frankfurt player you would love to see at United right now. I think I've got one.
Two.
And he's plays at fullback.
Yeah, Nathaniel Brown. He's one of my favorite. He's my favorite player at Frankfurt at this moment. He plays unbelievable. German international in such a young age. Look at the game yesterday. He was phenomenal, and he's very young. So I think he could make it in the Premier League too. But knowing this ownership, they will buy some, I don't know who, but not him, not the right players. But it hurts me even today to see Ekitike in Liverpool and Marmoush in Manchester City. Both of them are perfect for Frankfurt. They have done great things, and to see them go to one of our rivals is killing me even today.
Yeah, Liverpool. There, yeah, it's mad. Which manager is your choice to be United manager? Let's put Carrick out. If it wasn't Carrick, who would you like to be the Man United manager right now?
Wow, it's a hard one. I'm not even sure. But you know, the problem is, it doesn't even matter who you bring in, as long as we have this ownership, who probably not going to back this manager, whoever he is, then he's going to suffer. It doesn't matter. You can bring in the best manager of all time in the history of football. he would suffer. You can bring back Fergie, he would suffer with this system. What we have right now, there are lots of young managers out there, but if you don't back them, then their chances are quite minimal. So I don't know who should I say. Probably Nagelsmann because of his character. Nagelsmann is somebody who I like.
Yeah, he's a good manager. He's at the World Cup this year, isn't he, with Germany? Is it Nagelsmann? So I don't know what his contractual situation is after the World Cup. I don't know if he's still
he doesn't have experience in the Premier League, but so didn't have Pep or Klopp either.
Yeah, this is the thing. One thing I said, Tybo, before is that we don't know who's going to be a success. It could be anyone. It could be a manager in Croatia, for example, who's going to take Man United to the league title. We never know who it's going to be. But obviously, Nagelsmann is one of them. I think will be a good appointment in regards to his personality. Tuchel, I think I'm a bit conflicted with Tuchel because obviously he won the Champions League with Chelsea in a COVID season. I mean, it was a little bit. I like him, but it's going to have to be a special manager for me to say if Carrick gets in the Champions League, no Carrick. I want to go with that manager. That's the manager we want. But as you said there, it depends if they're going to back him. Is there any players in Germany that you're looking at the moment you think will fit Man United right now? I mean, we're talking about Jan Diomande, obviously of Leipzig, these type of players. Are there any players that we may have not even mentioned on this channel, and you look at and you think this is the guy that Man United need to bring in?
Basically, I was thinking about this. You mentioned on your live streams almost every single player from Germany, from the Bundesliga, that I would thought, okay, he would probably be good in United. Schlotterbeck is my answer.
And he's been linked again today, Schlotterbeck. I remember us talking about him like a year ago. Left-sided centre-back, can play centre midfield, I think, as well. He can play this CDM role as well. He would be a good buy because he's a good age as well. He's at 24.
And he's also a strong character. Don't forget this, because I think after we have softies in the last couple of years. So basically, you know yourself, Garnacho, Rashford, it was all about other things, but football was never there. I wouldn't say never there, especially in Rashford's case, he was good sometimes. Not as good as people think, but he's good. Yeah. But it was all about haircuts, cars, this, that. Where is the football?
Exactly. Sancho, Anthony, Rasmus is the other one I felt like was a little bit.
This is why I will always be thankful to Amorim. I will always be thankful to Amorim, because without him, we would have these players. All of them we would have still here at United. And the repairing time would be a couple of years. He managed that in a couple of months to get rid of all that bad culture.
Was it Ananda now? He's got rid of. We've got Anthony, Sancho, Rashford. He got rid of all these players. And the players that are playing well, funny enough, are Ruben Amorim players. In Bremo, he's brought him in. Sesko, obviously, we knew about Sesko would be a good player. He's starting to come good now, I think. And I think that Carrick is looking after him well. And Cunha is another one. He's brought in. Dorgu is another one brought in. And he tried to change it. And if we can remember anything fondly about Amorim was that, and the fact that he called out the ownership in the end, and that for me was big, because he could have left and just kept his mouth quiet and just said and got sacked, but he called them out, and I admire him for that. I'll forever admire him for that. But you've got, after Amorim, like, part of me feels that I just didn't want another manager. I just can't be bothered to go through this again with a new manager. Now we start again with a new manager, and now it's more like I'm more like feeling, okay, we'll see what happens now. Carrick comes in. If he wins, great. Let's wait and see now. I'm not going to put all my energy in it now. I'm just going to say, okay, let's see. And that's it, and let's see if he does well, because I don't trust this board, like you said. Don't trust this board, no matter who it is. We get Luis Enrique. Man United, we all know we need midfielders, we need wing backs, full backs, strikers, wingers. We need about $500 million spent on the team and just in one summer, I think. And we're not.
We have to do what Liverpool done last season, but I don't think it's going to happen. You know, the first thing I have to mention this. What the biggest surprise to me in all this Glazer-Ineos situation is the government. I really can't understand how did a government not prevent this to happen. They would have to get in and say, no, you don't buy this British asset. Look, all the buildings in England, when I was visiting, I seen almost all the old buildings from the Victorian era. You cannot do with them whatever you want because the government says, no, this is our heritage. Then why couldn't they say the same for United and Old Trafford? So two guys or a family comes from America and they can do whatever they want without any own money. I just can't understand how really could this happen.
It's illegal now after that, but what they should have done is they should have done retrospective action. They should have took it back and said, okay, Glazers, you're still 1.2 billion in debt. You've not paid off any capital. Yeah. You either pay off the debt or you leave and sell up. And that's what they should have done in the UK. I don't understand. There seems to be one rule for someone, another rule for another thing. You know, when it suits their narrative at the end of the day. Obviously, all the Queen's buildings and Victorian buildings are listed. Old Trafford should be listed. Old Trafford has been, you know, we know about the history of Old Trafford from the war to now, you know, and it should be a listed building. It should be untouched. Unfortunately, with the government, they don't seem too interested in it. And this is one reason why I'm thinking that Jim Ratcliffe comment may have been a blessing in disguise. Because now the government, the mayor of Manchester is starting to say, "Oh, this is not good. You know, you can't say these things." The Prime Minister of England, you can't say these things. And I think hopefully he will end up resigning. I've got a question here. Mateo Bohoya plays attacking midfield for Eintracht Frankfurt. He's only 20 years old.
Yeah, a little bit inconsistent. Very good player on his day, but. He can sometimes be completely lost on the field for 90 minutes. So you never know what you get with him. But as you said, he's very young. I think he would be a great, great player. But at this moment, still, he is sometimes so, sometimes so.
That's especially young players. You have to be very careful. Another player, Said El Mala. I know he don't play for Eintracht Frankfurt, but I'm a big fan of this player. How is he at the moment?
The player from Cologne, I think. He was very hyped in the last couple of weeks here in Germany too. But I've seen him only once, and he was nothing special. But it was only one time, so maybe I've seen a game where I don't know. I don't know too much about him, to be honest.
So Tybo, lastly, I want to ask you. What is your prediction for the season? What do you expect this season? What do you think is going to happen this season? Given the manager situation, the position situation, what is going to happen? And let's hear
unless something very surprising happens and something very bad happens, I predict 4th or 5th place. I think we're going to do it. Either Champions League or Europa League, maybe. But excellent. Compared to this season, Europa League is also an improvement if you look at it. Even if I watched United in Champions League all my life.
Yeah, we're such a good position at the moment. I just really want us to get that Champions League. Then we want to have
things continue like this, like it was in the last 5-6 games. Then why not? We can be even third. Hopefully.
Exactly. Tyberg, I want to say thank you for joining me. I really appreciate you, your insight.
Thank you for inviting me.
Really appreciate that. And I'm sure we're going to have you on the show again whenever you're free. And thank you so much. Have a great evening, my friend. And I'll see you soon.
Thank you very much for inviting me. Have a nice evening, guys.
You too. Cheers. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye. That was Tyborg. Big up Tyborg, the legend, of course, of Stretford Post. Guys, thank you everyone who put in their questions, of course. Guys, let me just say, big up Metal. What's going on? We need a manager who can consistently get us into the top 4 with limited resources, because all the owners aren't going to properly back anyone. Who's that manager, Metal? You know, that's the thing, isn't it? What about Angelo Stidder? Can he succeed? Yeah, I should have asked that one, but I think Angelo Stidder is an absolute phenomenal player. Angelo Stidder will fit into any team. He's also wanted by Real Madrid as well, and Angelo Stidder. So, you know, that is that's one that is a no-brainer for me. Absolutely. Gregory, how does United acquire a solid 26-year-old centre-back such as Nico Schlotterbeck away from Borussia Dortmund? It's all about the Skrilla. It's all about the money. That's probably what it is. That's probably what's going to attract him. But, you know, with Schlotterbeck, we have been linked to Schlotterbeck for a long time. It's been about a year. Me and Tyber were talking about Schlotterbeck a long time ago. And really, really big player. As he said, personality, versatile. Yeah, a big player for Man United. Man United can attract him. Obviously, the Man United tax is a big problem, of course. Big wages, fee, in my opinion, Gregory, I agree with that. Exactly that. Big wages and fee. Obviously, Dortmund won't want to get rid of him. Donny, I meant without destroying this wage structure at United. Yeah, I mean, I like him, Sal, the Moroccan kid, Moran. Mamo. Yeah, Mamo, I mentioned him a couple of times in regards to Watford, young player, Moroccan player, very good player. Mama, of course, yeah. And a project player, but, you know, it's a player that could come good. And obviously, he's very highly rated, Moroccan youth player, of course. Absolutely. Big up Danny B. Cheers, Tybo. Cheers, everyone. Guys, I want to thank everyone for joining me today. Thank you, everyone, for your questions and that. I will be getting people on the channel, guys. I will, to get your insights. I want to get to know the community, of course, and your history and your memories of Manchester United and your opinions about Man United right now, because the way things are going at the moment, it's a good chance for me. Obviously, we're not playing football over this last few days. It's a good chance for me to get to know you guys and stuff like that. But big up Tyborg, he's an absolute legend. Thank you to Tyborg for joining me today, and thank you every single one of you who joined me as well. Please don't forget, I'll be back tomorrow for Breaking Dawn. I should be back in my usual surroundings tomorrow. I know I said that yesterday, but I should be back in my usual surroundings tomorrow, and then I'll start doing some more watch-alongs. I think I need to do some more watch-alongs. But you know what? The FA Cup's a Mickey Mouse Cup, I was told, when Man United were winning the FA Cup, wasn't it? Have a nice day, guys. Thank you so much, Ephraim. Big up yourself. Thank you so much. And guys, don't forget to smash a like on the way out. Subscribe to the channel, all that jazz. That'd be absolutely fantastic. I'm Sal Warner. This is Chatterbox. See you tomorrow, guys. Peace.